line. Dan Bork finally making the tackle. And it's interesting, Bishop Stang earlier this year, Matt Lanigan went up against his dad. Now he ends the year going up against the guy in Steve McGonigal he used to coach for. A lot of firsts this year for Matt Lanigan.
Certainly, and he wants to end this game with his first Thanksgiving Day win against his former team, Coyle Cassidy. Right now, Bishop Feehan moving the ball pretty good.
Ball is spotted at the 49-yard line. 1st and 10, Shamrocks, and the slot to the right side is Morin. Quick pitch near side to Chang, gets by one tackler across midfield, and is dragged down at about the 45-yard line. Tackle being made by Kevin Avila coming up for Coyle Cassidy. A pickup of about 6 yards for Tony Chang on a quick pitch to the near side right.
He might be just a little guy, but you really got to stick him because, once again, Aaron King had him in the backfield, had him for a loss, and he just slipped out of the tackle and gained yardage. So he's really a tough runner to bring down, even though he's not that big.
Seacog found out earlier this year when he had 5 touchdowns and well over 230 yards against them. Uroff is split to the right side, and the right slot is Tom Morin. Pianadosi and Chang in the I formation, a 2nd and 4 from the Coyle Cassidy 44-yard line. They'll run the option to the far side left, quick pitch to Chang, and he is stacked up by Bork and company at about the 43-yard line. Also in on the tackle is Rob Kinney for the Warriors.
Well, and Matt Lanigan showing not only that he brought his defense with him from Coyle Cassidy, but a bit of an offense. A little option off to the left side there, but Coyle showing they've seen that play all year, pretty much stuffed it without too much of a gain.
Closing in on the 4-minute mark of the second quarter, 7-6, Bishop Feehan leads, and they have a 3rd and 2 from the Coyle Cassidy 43-yard line, moving left to right in this second quarter. Uroff split to the left side. To the right side is Tom Morin. Backs are split, give goes to Chang right side, and he's got the first down or close to it at the 40-yard line. It appears that it will be a first down. It will all depend on the spot. And it is a first down. They won't even bring out the chains. So they'll move the chains. 1st and 10, Shamrocks.
And moving the ball very well. It's interesting, unofficially, we've got about 3:40 and counting left to go in the first half. And just now, I just saw Deanna Fiadrone warming up his legs. So maybe if we get near the end of the half, we might see him try a field goal if their drive holds.
Uroff splits to the far side left, near side right is Morin. Backs are split. 1st and 10, Shamrocks from the 40. Play action, Cody firing it downfield for Poirier, and he slips at the 28-yard line. The tackle, the tight end, Brett Poirier, was in a gap of coverage, and he slipped. And the interesting thing is, Ron, for the 40-yard line down to our right, that field has not been played on at all. The rest of the field's getting a little muddy. That still might be a little frozen.
It might be, and that might have been what caused him to fall down, because he seemed all alone out there and just tripped over his own feet.
So we'll bring up a 2nd down and 10. Uroff splits to the left side, to the right side, Morin. Backs in the I formation. And play action again, firing it deep for Tom Morin on the near side. Cuts in, makes the catch at the 10, and goes in for a touchdown. Tom Morin, a 40-yard touchdown reception from Nate Cody. And with 3:11 left to go until halftime, the Shamrocks increase their lead 13-6.
Well, Chris Papps, unfortunately, was the one who got beat there. The ball fluttered up there. It looks like Papps was going for an interception, had his eye on the ball, and then the receiver just cut in front of him and took the ball away from him, ran into the end zone. Good play by that wide receiver.
Fiataroni in now to attempt the extra point. Brett Poirier is the holder. It's a good snap, ball down, kick on the way, plenty of leg, and it is good. 3:11 left to go until halftime. Your score, Bishop Feehan 14, Coyle Cassidy 6. We'll return after this. Here at Anderson. Ron Lancaster back here at Hayward Field. 3:11 left to go until halftime. Bishop Feehan leads now 14-6. 40-yard touchdown pass from Nate Cody to Tom Morin. Fiataroni the extra point, and he kicks it away now. Low line drive, and we taken by Lennon at the 22, across the 25, and he's nailed at the 26-yard line. Tony Chang down, making the coverage along with Chip Scanlon. So Coyle Cassidy will get the ball back, trailing by 8.
Well, Coyle Cassidy has ran their offense on their last drive perfectly. The only problem with that is it takes a long time to move down the field. It's not a 2-minute offense. It's not conducive when you're behind by 8 points with only 3 minutes left in the first half. They like to take it slow and steady. They've got to go into whatever 3-minute offense they have right now.
And so far, Bishop Feehan has showed itself to be a quick strike offense today. Lennon, Nawasu, and Dion. Wishbone set. Kinney splits to the near side left, far side right, Dan Bork, and a 1st and 10 from the 26. Paps will keep around right side and will go nowhere. Brett Poirier made first contact. Andy Sandville and friends made the tackle, bring up 2nd down and 11.
Well, you want to really contain Chris Paps. You don't want him to get to the outside. Feehan did that perfectly that time, Brett Poirier, with the first hit and bringing him down for a loss of 1 yard.
So it's a 2nd down and 11 as they spot the ball back at the 26-yard line. Kinney splits to the right side. And again, the backs in the wishbone formation behind Chris Paps. And play action, Paps to the far side, looking for Kinney. Fires, and did he catch it? He came down with the ball, but they say incomplete.
He's wide open on that side of the field. When he rolls to the right side, there's nobody out there but Kenny and a defender. That time he threw it maybe a little bit past him, and Kenny couldn't hold on to it.
He was making the catch going away from us on the far sidelines, and they ruled it incomplete, and will bring up a 3rd down and 11. Warriors can ill afford to give the high-powered Shamrock offense the ball back with still 2:20 left to go until halftime. Kinney splits to the far side right, Paps back to throws, got some time, swings a screen pass to Rich Lennon, who breaks the tackle at the 20 across the 25. He's ridden down at the 27 by Nate Cody and Nate Nascimento, and now the Shamrocks want a timeout as they want to conserve some clock with 2:05 left to go, and they will get the football back.
And right now, good play that time. We talked about on last play how open, how no Feehan defender was on that side of the field, the right side of the field. That time they had plenty of defenders. They smelled that screen out, and they covered it well. And right now, Feehan with a timeout, they have a high-powered offense. They can score it well, and they've got 2 minutes to do it.
If you're just joining us, glad to have you along. Mike Logan and Ron Lancaster from Hayward Field. Bishop Feehan took the early lead on a 61-yard touchdown run from Tony Chang. It put Chang over 1,000 yards rushing for his senior season. In fact, it was the first play from scrimmage for Bishop Feehan, and they led 7-0 at the end of 1. Coyle Cassidy came back and closed to within a point on a 1-yard touchdown run from Rich Lennon. It culminated a 17-play drive. And then just moments ago, Bishop Feehan going up 14-6, a 40-yard touchdown pass from Nate Cody to Tom Morin, and that's where we stand, 14-6. 2:05 left to go. Dave Kuna will punt it from his 15. Tony Chang back at his 38 to receive for the Shamrocks.
Tony Chang, very dangerous runner.
Good snap, plenty of time for Kuna. Gets an end-over-end kick taken by Chang at the 45 on the far side. Cuts it to the middle across midfield. 45-40. Breaks the tackle, 35. Tony Chang's going to go. 20, 15, 10, 5, touchdown. Well,
he couldn't have gotten that punt in a more perfect position. A line drive punt. He was all alone down here at about the 45-yard line. Came up the center of the field, gained 10 yards before any Coyle Cassidy player got to him. Showed his ability to elude a tackle, slipped through one, and then he was wide open. A 55-yard punt return.
Tony Chang's looking to get his 2nd Balfour Trophy in as many years with this performance, his 2nd touchdown of the game. And that only took about 10 seconds from when the punt was off at 2:05. We have 1:50 left to go, 15 seconds, 6 points.
Well, they don't waste time. They just get the ball and put it in the end zone.
Fiataroni now with the PAT attempt. And a quick timeout by Bishop Feehan. We'll keep it right here. Tony Chang with a 55-yard punt return. And as you mentioned, Ron, it was a line drive punt. He made a quick cut at the 50 and then pulled away from everybody at the 35. Dave Kuna, the last one to try and catch him. No way that was going to happen.
Well, it seemed on the kickoff, when Coyle Cassidy kicked off after their touchdown, they had a nice line drive kick. Keep it away from Tony Chang. That time they kicked it right to him. I think the rest of the day, when Coyle gets an opportunity, they're going to kick it out of bounds. They're going to kick it short. They're going to do anything they have to keep it out of the hands of Tony Chang to stop him from doing any more of what he just did.
That's 2 touchdowns in a minute 19 for Bishop Feehan. They scored with 3:11 left to go. And now with a minute 50, Fiataroni will attempt the extra point. Brett Poirier, the holder, as both teams back out on the field after the timeout. It's a good snap, and they're going to run the reverse fake to Cody. Fires in the end zone, complete to Morin for the 2-point conversion. Some razzle-dazzle on the extra point. and it's 22-6 Bishop Feehan with 1:50 left to go. We'll take a timeout and return to Hayward Field in 1 minute. Wow.
Throughout.
Mike Logan and Ron Lancaster back at Hayward Field. 1:50 left to go until halftime. And Bishop Feehan leads 22-6. Try the onside kick. They recover it, but the flag is down, and I believe they're going to call an offsides by the Shamrocks. It was recovered by Bishop Feehan, but the line judge here threw the flag immediately when the ball was kicked, and I think you're going to have an offsides call.
Well, we've seen Bishop Feehan do this throughout the game. At the beginning, they'll huddle up, and then they'll just all run together, and usually they'll just stop at the last moment and then break off wide. That time, they tried the onside kick, and a penalty marker was called, and the Feehan sideline is irate. Several coaches went out almost to the middle of the field to debate that call with the referee.
In fact, Mac Lanigan meant him to, I don't think, to discuss Thanksgiving dinner plans. A little upset at the call as he thought they had it done to perfection. The last touchdown, a 55-yard punt return by Tony Chang. The two-point conversion, it started out as an extra point attempt. It was a pitch from the holder, Brett Poirier, to Nate Cody, who rolled to the far side left and threw a pass to Tom Morin, wide open in the back of the end zone. And it's 22-6. And Coyle Cassidy will refuse the penalty and will take the ball right at midfield. We have another timeout. We'll return to Hayward Field in 1 minute. Stripe. Wishbone set, Paps play action, throws. Looks for Kinney, now he's got some pressure. Dumps it off to Nawasu, and Bishop Feehan falls on the ball, and they got it. It's a lateral. Noah Sheridan, Nawasu kind of nonchalanted it, Ron, after he dropped the football, but it's a lateral and everything going the Greens' way.
Well, I think Kim Nawasu is maybe only in his first year, and that shows a little experience. That ball was home thrown behind the line, and once it left his hands, he just thought it was an incomplete pass. Actually, it was a lateral, it was a free ball. Bishop Feehan falls on it, and they have the quick offense. They have the ball at Coyle Cassidy's 40 with a chance to score 6 more before halftime.
It was Noah Sheridan who came up with the football. Morin and Urov both split to the far side right. Pianadosi and Chang in the I formation. 1st and 10, Shamrocks at the 40. Cody on the draw play to Chang. He's got a lot of room. Across the 35, across the 30, and finally ridden down by Rob Kinney at the 25-yard line. Enough for another first down for Tony Chang with 1:34 to go until halftime.
And he carried Rob Kinney the last 4 yards. This is a real strong and a real fast kid. He has been very impressive on both sides of the ball throughout this first half.
So it's 1st and 10, Shamrocks, ball at the 26-yard line of the Coyle Cassidy Warriors. Urov splits to the left side, Morin to the right side. Backs are in the I formation. Cody rolls to the near side, he's got Chang with him, wants to throw, and he does, complete to Brett Poirier at the 15. He's close to another first down as the Shamrocks call a timeout with 1:10 to go now, and they're continuing to drive.
And that time, the receiver, Brett Poirier, fell down once again on that side of the field. We mentioned Tony Chang going over 1,000 yards. Nate Cody has, I believe it's 165 yards to pass for over 1,000 yards this year. Maybe he'll get a chance to put a little dent in that on this drive, and maybe he'll do that in the second half. We might see a little bit more of Cody throwing in the second half. He really hasn't had to do it here in the first half.
Well, he's got 40 of it in the form of the touchdown pass to Tom Morin. Morin also on the receiving end of a two-point conversion, as the Shamrocks have it 1st and 10 at the 16-yard line. They're moving left to right here in the second quarter. Keep in mind, that part of the field hasn't been played on that much, and it's still in pretty good shape, as you will see when you watch this game tonight at 5:30 on Channel 8 in Attleboro and Rehoboth, and Channel 27 in Taunton and North Attleboro. Most of the field from the 40-yard line down to the left is now muddy, but where they are operating from right now, field is in good shape. So it's 1st and 10 for the Shamrocks. Well, second and less than a yard as they spotted it just shy. This is a good play action down with second and less than a yard. Yoroff and Morin split to the near side right, gives to Chang. He gets the first down as Rich Lennon tripped him up at the line of scrimmage. Chang, however, gets down to about the 13. It's another first down for the Shamrocks.
Give the offensive line of Bishop Feehan credit. They are really opening big holes for Tony Chang. He had a big hole, just got tripped up, or he might have had 6 there.
No huddle offense for Bishop Feehan with a minute and under to go. Cody, play action, rolls to the near side. He's got some time, looking in the end zone. Fires, it is knocked down and almost intercepted by Rob Kinney. Pass was intended for Brett Poirier, ball underthrown, and a nice play by Kinney.
Certainly a very nice play by Kinney because Poirier was all alone at the end zone. Good play by the Coyle defense, though. He wanted to roll out and throw that ball quickly, but the Coyle defense sort of had everybody covered. They gave him time. He threw that as a desperation and underthrew it.
Well, if you're the Warriors, you're down now by 16. That's still doable. If you give up another touchdown here, it might be, that's it. And you're not only into the second, you're only finishing the first half. This time, Yoroff and Morin split to the right side. Poirier to the left. Backs in the I formation. And again, they'll go to the draw to Chang. Again, he's got some room at the 10. Breaks 2 tackles at the 5, and he's in. Touchdown. What a run by Tony Chang. Rob Kinney and Chris Papps thought they had him tackled at the 10-yard line. They hit him but did not wrap. And where's Mr. McQuaid? Start engraving the Balfour Trophy with Mr. Chang's number. 3 touchdowns here in the first half.
I hope his trophy case can fit one more of those because he's about on his way to get one. Just a fantastic run by Tony Chang, but also give credit to Bishop Feehan's offensive line. They've given him big holes to go through.
Fiataroni will attempt the extra point. Snap, ball down, kick on the way. Plenty long enough. It is good. And with 43 seconds left to go until halftime, your score, Bishop Feehan 29, Coyle Cassidy 6. We'll be back to Hayward Field after this. Hayward Field, 43 seconds left to go, 29-6. Bishop Feehan, as in just 2 minutes and 28 seconds, they have turned what was run a 7-6 game into a blowout.
You've seen the explosiveness of the Bishop Feehan offense. They have shown it in spades here. 2 big touchdown runs by Tony Chang and a big pass by Nate Cody.
Fiataroni will kick it away again. It's a long kick, goes to the far side of the field, and will be taken there by Herbert. He's across the 20, 25, 30, and is tackled at the 35-yard line. Yoroff in on the stop along with Bill Servant for Bishop Feehan. You know, the sad thing is, if you're tuning in right now, you hear the score 29-6. You say, gee, Coyle's playing horrible. They're really not. It's just that Feehan's playing that well offensively.
Feehan is playing very well offensively, and Coyle Cassidy's offense is not conducive to scoring quickly. They certainly haven't. Their only score came on a very long time consuming drive.
So the Warriors have a 1st and 10 from their own 35-yard line. Papps forced to throw, and he will, and it's incomplete. Looking for Josh Dion out in the right side flat. And 35 seconds now left to go until halftime. Feehan holds a 29-6 lead. That last touchdown, a 16-yard touchdown run by Tony, make it a 13-yard touchdown run by Chang Fiataroni with the extra point. 3 touchdowns here in the first half for Tony Chang. He won the Balfour Trophy last year and is making a great case in this first half to get his name on that piece of hardware again this year. Nawaso goes in motion to the far side. Papps the throw, rolls near sides. Looking for Kenny's being pressured. Gets away from Peluso, is going to take it back the other side. He's calling for some blockers across the 30-35, and he's tripped up by Noah Sheridan on the far side. He eluded Peluso on the near side, but couldn't elude Noah Sheridan on the far side.
Well, Bishop Feehan had that pretty well snuffed out. They know Coyle Cassidy has to pass. They also know Coyle Cassidy doesn't like to pass. And they can really shore up their defense. They had a couple guys in the backfield, and right now it's a 3rd down. I believe Bishop Feehan's taking a timeout.
Actually, Coyle called the timeout on the far side. And we will keep it right here as these timeouts have been very quick today. I think the weather has something to do with it.
I think that's it. They got a quick 1-minute clock going on. It's only about maybe 40 seconds. Right now, Coyle Cassidy has to go out and without anything, make sure Feehan doesn't score again, and then just try to come out and try to get something together in the second half. Be interesting halftime talk from Steve McGonigal to his players.
Well, really, it's been one player, Tony Chang. He's got 2 touchdowns rushing, a 55-yard punt return. We have him unofficially for almost 160 total yards of offense in this first half alone. So at 19 seconds left to go with 3rd and 10 for Coyle Cassidy at their own 36. Kinney split out far to the right side. Wishbone set behind Paps. Chris will throw again, he's getting pressured. Nascimento rolls out to the far side. Paps will run now up to the 35, and he hops out close to the 40-yard line, applying the pressure. Tom DeVischer.
We're looking at Bishop Feehan's defensive secondary. They had 5 defensive backs on about 2 receivers. So when Paps went back, all he saw was green shirts down the field. So that gives the up man on Feehan a lot of time to set up and try to rush and try to bother Paps.
So there's 7 seconds left to go until halftime. It's a 4th down and 6 yards to go. The ball spotted just shy of the 40-yard line. And Big Dave Kuna in now to punt it away. Now it brings up an interesting point here. Or maybe they won't kick it away.
I was going to say, even if they do, it's going nowhere near Tony Chang. It might. Steve McGonigal has a better chance of returning this one than Tony Chang does. It might go toward the coach on the sideline.
They will kick it away, and Tony Chang will drop back.
I got to feel if the opportunity presents itself, Dave Kuna might take off on a run here instead of. I just don't think you want to kick it anywhere near him if you're Coyle Cassidy right now.
Well, he's got 7 seconds to kill until halftime. He's standing back at about his 25. Chang back at his 30. He's already returned a punt 55 yards for a touchdown earlier in the half. And the punt is almost blocked. Kuna kicks it into the crowd on the Coyle Cassidy side. They'll mark it out at the 44-yard line. 2 seconds left to go. So we'll give the Shamrocks one more offensive play before halftime.
And with the explosiveness of this offense, that gives them plenty of time to go downfield and score, especially when you have a quarterback like Nate Cody. Chang's been the big guy this half. We haven't really talked much about Nate Cody because we really haven't had to. He's got a great arm, and he's got some good receivers down there. So Coyle Cassidy really has to be aware at this point. They don't want another 6 points before halftime.
As they break the huddle, Yoroff comes to the far side, near side right with us, down in front of us. Morin in the slot to the right side. Backs are split. This will be the final play of the half. Cody drops back, gives to Chang in the reverse. Chang is across the 45, but it didn't fool Dan Bork or Rich Lennon, and they both run Chang out at midfield. We have played one half of football from Hayward Field on this Thanksgiving Day 1993. It has been all Shamrocks. Mostly Tony Chang, 29-6. Bishop Feehan leads. We'll be back with our halftime show right after this. We're at Hayward Field, and welcome to the Nationwide Nemirovsky Insurance Halftime Report. 29-6, your score at halftime. Bishop Feehan leads Coyle Cassidy. However, Ronna, we mentioned it late in the second quarter. This was a 7-6 game with 3:11 left to go until halftime, and then the Shamrocks exploded for 22 points in just 2:28.
They showed off their very explosive offense early on. Bishop Feehan had only 2 plays in the first quarter. That's something that shows you how quick and how explosive their offense is. Matter of fact, they scored on their very first offensive play just 2 minutes into the quarter when Tony Chang took a handoff, went 61 yards for the touchdown. That made it 7-6. Bishop Feehan got the ball back a few minutes later after a Coyle Cassidy drive slowed, and it looked like it was going to be a long day for the Warriors from that point. However, Rich Leonard recovered a fumble at the Bishop Feehan 42-yard line, and Coyle Cassidy went on a great drive, 58 yards in 17 plays, taking about 7 minutes of time. Rich Lennon, ironically enough, scoring the touchdown on a 1-yard run. Coyle Cassidy went for a 2-point conversion. Chris Paps rolled to his right, threw a pass. Rob Kinney just off his hands. So Feehan kept the lead at 7-6. But then late in the half, Bishop Feehan showed off the explosiveness of their offense. First came a 40-yard touchdown pass from quarterback Nate Cody to Tom Morin. The extra point made it 14-6. Then Bishop Feehan got the ball moments later on a punt. Actually, they stopped Coyle's offense. They went back to punt. Punt went right to Tony Chang, and Tony Chang showed off his explosive speed, running that punt back 55 yards for a touchdown. And then they made a 2-point conversion with Nate Cody taking a pitch from actually the snapper, the holder on the extra point, throwing to Morin in the end zone for the 2-point conversion. Then Feehan, a couple moments later, getting a missed lateral. They recovered the fumble on the 40-yard line, went down the field. Tony Chang scoring once again on a 14-yard touchdown run. The extra point made it 29-6. As Mike mentioned, 3 touchdowns in over 3 minutes, and so far, Mike, Tony Chang's been the story for Bishop Feehan.
That he has. He won the Balfour Trophy last year, and so far making a pretty good bid to win his second straight Balfour Trophy. So that's your score at halftime. Bishop Feehan 29, Coyle Cassidy 6. For those of you on television, this has been the Nationwide Nemirovsky Insurance Halftime Report. And for those of you listening along on the radio, we'll return with more of our halftime show right after this.
In 1873, William H. Riley.
That's the last thing you want, too. You're down by a few touchdowns, and your opponent, who scored so quickly, gets the ball to start the second half.
I must be cursed, but this will be 3 straight years of calling a Thanksgiving Day game that it's got ugly early. 2 years ago, we did a Taunton BR game run that Bridgewater Rainham was on their way to the Super Bowl, came into Tiger Stadium, ran all over them. Last year, we saw over at Bridgewater Rainham a game, I believe you were there as well, with the rain and everything else.
Actually, I was lucky. I was over here and doing this
That's
game
right.
at Bishop Feehan. And what was a great game last year between Bishop Feehan, Feehan winning in the last few minutes of the game. Very, very tightly played, but certainly Coyle Cassidy, you talked about it in the pregame show with Peter Gay, certainly missing Tony Maffini, that outside runner, that guy who can get to the outside and get the big yards.
Last year, of course, Bishop Feehan won 24-21. They hold the 17-13-1 advantage in this series. They've won 6 games since this game moved to Thanksgiving. Dave Kuna into the ball. We're underway in the second half. Nate Cody takes it on a bounce at the 20, up the middle, 25-30. Soft shoes up through the 35, and Kevin Avila makes the tackle at the 36-yard line. So Bishop Feehan has a 23-point lead, and they have good field position to start the second half of today's game.
And as we mentioned in the first half, Nate Cody with needed 165 yards going into this game to overtake 1,000 yards passing. He probably's got about 56 yards right now. So we might see him throw the ball a little bit more in the second half.
Well, we saw Tony Chang need just 21 yards to go over the 1,000 mark. He got that in his first carry of 61 yards. Yurov splits to the left. To the right is Morin. Pianadosi and Chang in the I formation. Chang gets the call over right side, gets a hole, and he is nailed by Chris Paps as he got to the 40, and that was it. Chris Paps came in and laid the hit on Chang, who goes 5'7", 165. Paps 6'2", 175, a slight mismatch.
Steve McGonigal said that when Chris Paps was injured, certainly they missed him on offense, but the most thing they missed him on was defense. He's probably one of the hardest hitters, definitely the hardest hitter Coyle has from his secondary position.
Yurov splits the huddle, split to the near side right, far side left is Tom Morin. Second down and 6. Shamrocks from their own 40. And on a counter play, Chang gets the call, gets a big hole, and he is close to another first down, and again is nailed by Chris Paps at about the 48-yard line.
Yeah, Chris Paps nailed him, but anytime your secondary man is nailing guys, is making the tackles, that means your up front guys are not making the plays. And right now, Tony Chang, about 9 yards on that play. Bishop Feehan back to usual, moving the ball downfield.
Chris Paps taking a little frustration out from the first half out on Tony Chang here early in the second half. We're in the opening minute, and Bishop Feehan has a 1st and 10 from their own 49-yard line. Pianadosi and Chang in the I formation. Play action. Cody will roll to the near side. He's got some time, and now he'll tuck it and run and get across midfield, and that will be it. Jack Taylor and Aaron King on the tackle for the Warriors at about the Coyle Cassidy 46.
Good movement by Taylor and King to just keep a watch on him. They only had one receiver on the right side of the field, and he was draped by 2 defenders. So Coyle Cassidy knows that Cody can pass, and they are stopping this. They're not stopping much on Bishop Feehan's side, but they are stopping Cody from getting the big passes away.
As they break the huddle, Mike Yurov splits to the left side this time. Morin comes to the right side. Pianadosi and Chang again in the I formation. Cody changes some things at the line of scrimmage. And the give will come to Chang right side, gets a hole at the 45, and then is quickly swarmed under by Kevin Avila and friends at about the 43-yard line, a pickup of 2.
That time they went off right side on that play, and Coyle Cassidy snuffing it up. Tony Chang's been carrying the ball a lot. They haven't had that many plays. But Tony Chang's been carrying the ball a lot. It'll be interesting to see how many carries he gets before the game's over.
7.5 minutes left to go in the third quarter. Shamrocks on their opening possession of the second half, leading 29-6.